Former Oyo State Governor Rashidi Ladoja is demanding a public apology from ex-Osun State Governor Bisi Akande regarding claims made about the murder of former Attorney General of the Federation, Bola Ige. If Akande does not apologize, Ladoja has threatened to take legal action. Bisi Akande alleged that Ladoja discontinued a case filed by former Oyo State Governor Lam Adesina, which aimed to uncover Ige's killers. However, Ladoja strongly denies this claim, asserting that he has nothing to gain from hindering the investigation and that he was close to the late Bola Ige during his life. Mr. Ladoja emphasized that Akande's statements are false and reiterated his intention to pursue legal action if Akande does not retract his statement and issue an apology. It is worth noting that Bola Ige was murdered on December 23, 2001 at his residence in Bodija, Ibadan, and his case remains unresolved nearly 24 years later. Joining us in the studio is social commentator Biodun Shomi. Good morning. It's good to have you join us.
Good morning. Nice to be here with you.
Great. 24 years on, this case the ghost around this case is here again hovering, and it is now pitting two rivals again at each other's throats, some would say, and now they are on a path of a legal war as it is. I am wondering, what do you make of the recent outburst or statement coming from both ends with regards to this case?
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate that about 24 years after the murder of a serving Minister of Justice and Attorney General, a former governor of Oyo State, Chief Bola Ige, we've not been able to resolve or put an end to this issue, partly because of the collapse of the case filed against some persons in court at the time when Lam Adesina was the governor of Oyo State, and also partly because of the inability of the Nigerian police force to come up with new suspects and new investigation leading to the arrest of the culprit. So for some reasons that has not happened. So the controversy continues because it's quite a very strange one that a serving Attorney General with the full complements of security could get killed in his own home while his own security aides claim they have gone out to eat. So it still remains a mystery till today. Now, back to your question in relation to Papa Akande and Chief Rashid Ladoja, both of them former governors. Baba Akande was, Chief Bisi Akande was the governor of Osun State when Bola Ige was killed. Bola Ige was killed in Oyo State, in Ibadan, when Lam Adesina was the governor. Rashid Ladoja was not a governor, but he succeeded Lam Adesina. And from all indications, according to Ladoja, that he did not discontinue the case. The case collapsed at a point when the security guard, the private security guard of Bola Ige, who identified, I remember clearly, who identified those suspects, that he saw the people that came into the house after the police left, and that Bola Ige's daughter also came in at a point later, after Ige probably had been killed, and he decided to recant. And the moment he did, a man who claimed he could identify one or two of the suspects suddenly said, no, he couldn't identify anybody. So the case collapsed for want of evidence. But whether there is another case filed by Lam Adesina's government, which was later discontinued by Ladoja, no one knows. But at least we know of that case. The fact is, emotions will always come up, when it comes to Chief Bola Ige, because the matter has not been put to a finality. I mean, there is no end to it. Somebody died, the family grieved, the wife died as a result of the shock. When the wife had, a judge herself had that, look, the man had changed the whole story. So, what else? It's a very strange one, very mysterious issue, which over a period of time, the country needs to reflect on it. That how could a serving Attorney General of the Federation, a Minister for Justice, be killed in that situation until today.
Who contributed immensely to the nation.
Absolutely.
Right.
The wife was also a serving judge at the time.
Right.
That's
Justice Atinuke Ige. So how could those entrusted, with justice being, victims of injustice, and
that's quite
nothing happened till today? Nobody has been
That's a
appealing.
very big paradox you actually raised there. Well, so if you look at former Governor Osun State on this program with Ubilo, he said that he alleged that the government killed Bola Ige. Yes. Then there is this forth and back saying that Senator Rashid Ladoja withdrew the case, just like you said, and Senator Rashid Ladoja said he will go to court, and this forth and back. So I'm curious to know, given these conflicting statements, what do these allegations actually reveal about, or the denial reveal about the political dynamics and tension during that era?
Yeah, look, at that time, many people felt there was a kind of government involvement in it. Given the way it happened, given the testimonies or things said by different people, no one has the evidence. That's the truth of the matter. But we've had people saying that Ige spoke to them, and it was warned that if you leave the government, you get killed. We've heard that Ige wrote a letter, expressing his desire to resign from the government by March 2022. That was taking up a seat at the African seat at the International Court of Justice in The Hague.
Yes.
And we've heard of disagreement that, according to Chief Bisi Akande, also that he encouraged Ige to speak to the former President Obasanjo, about his grievances, and that was when he was transferred from the Ministry of Mines and Power to the Ministry of Justice, and presumably that probably put an end to those grievances. We don't know. You see, the issue is nobody can pinpoint or can say with certainty that this is exactly what happened. And the fact that we have not gotten to the end of it, we've not found the culprits and put them on trial, process them through the criminal justice system, will always lead to speculation, and that is what is going on currently. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's a case that the federal government cannot reopen. I think they can reopen it to put a finality to it. It is only when the culprits are found, that all these speculations will end. Otherwise, it will continue.
I'm wondering, almost 24 years on, government putting a finality to it, how possible is that? If at that point, when this matter was still very hot, if I may use that word, where it was still intense and a lot of persons were seeking answers, someone who is meant to be a witness decided to recant on his statement. I mean, nobody knows what has happened or has transpired to the file, to the case, to these people who are meant to be witnesses. So what can we achieve if the case is reopened?
Well, for instance, let me give you an example of one issue. There was a gap in the investigation in terms of forensic analysis. Allegedly, I must underline that some of the assailants, held on to Bola Ige. There was no fingerprints extracted from the clothes he wore. If the clothes are still preserved, we can still go back to that. Because science is so advanced now that you can extract all this information and then go back, to the investigation. So whether those clothes were preserved by the family or whether they're with the police, I don't know. But there are still things they can look into. It's a very painful thing, for everybody.
Because I saw his son, the architect Muyiwa Ige, also recalling or recounting what happened, because he said he was there with his father. But though he moved to another room when the assassin...
He was locked up in another room.
He was locked up in another room when the assassinators came and did what they did. But before then, he noticed that even the security detail was receiving calls and all of that, and he was wondering why they were, giving details of how far they had traveled from Lagos back to Ibadan, as the case may be. And it's obvious that there's still a closure that they need from this whole matter. If government is really to do anything, wouldn't that be reopening old wounds that they are trying to heal at this point? I'm looking at it from both sides as it is, because it seems for them that perhaps they have given up and the society is just trying to open up a wound, or that we are seeking to bring them closure as it is?
The problem is the wound has not healed. This is the major problem we all face. Both Ige's associates and his family. Ige was very close to so many people, you know, during his lifetime. He was a man that deferred to organizational decisions, and he got involved in collective decision making. He was an associate of so many people in Nigeria, well respected, a legal luminary. And for many people, we are yet to get out of it. There are people who think about Bola Ige every year on December 23rd, every year. And, you know, it's so wrenching for them. There is no closure as far as they are concerned. For the family, there can never be closure. Somebody pulled the trigger that killed their father.
Absolutely.
He was shot in the head. A serving attorney general. So therefore, there can never be closure until, you know, justice is done. This is the problem. And in this case, whether we're trying to sidestep the issue and say, well, he's dead and he's gone and all that, or not, controversies will always come up. I remembered when the APC had Omishori as the national secretary, Professor Wole Soyinka also brought up the issue.
Yes.
That's right.
You know, so there will never be closure without full investigation leading to somebody or the perpetrators being processed through the criminal justice system.
But with the way the criminal justice system is now, that a lot of persons have even lambasted with regards to how we have handled issues that are not of that magnitude, do we have all it takes to get to the root of the matter?
Yes and no, except we had to embrace forensic science, because many of the those who would have information are dead. Lam Adesina is dead. He was the chief security officer of Oyo State when he was killed. So many of his associates are dead. We also know that some of the police operatives, or one or two of them, who were with Ige at that point in time, are now dead. So therefore, we may not be able to go too far if you are to depend on investigating individuals. There are people who have been tried in court, people like Frayo and all that, and discharged and acquitted for want of evidence. So that clearly shows that we have not gotten to the end of the matter. Now the issue is reopening it. In whose interest will that be?
That's
Is it for the family? Will it heal the wounds of the family? Is it for the associates? Will it heal the wounds of the associates? Or will reopening it be in the interest of justice? Or what? I mean, so these are matters.
These are open questions.
Yes.
Where would it be in your perspective?
In my view, every crime should be investigated to its conclusion. I also understand there's what they call overriding public interest in all matters. So I think it's for the authorities to take a view based on overriding public interest, while at the same time being mindful of the need to dispense justice.
But what lesson is there for us? Because there have been assassinations of high-profile persons, high-profile cases. For instance, we recall in 1995, there was this killing of Ken Saro-Wiwa and the Ogoni 9. They were killed in 1995 during Abacha regime. Dele Giwa in 1986, Kudirat Abiola in 1996, Moshood Abiola in 1998, Alfred Ruwan in 1995, Funshaw Williams 2006. A host of others. So is that to say that government is so omnipotent that it can kill anyone and get away with it?
When you look at the case of the Ogoni 9 and Ken Saro-Wiwa, it's a case of extrajudicial killing by the states.
Yeah.
It was the state chose to do that. I'm referring to General Sani Abacha. The whole world appealed to him. He decided he had to take their life to appease his own government. So he did. There are other cases of unsolved murders, Ari Marshall cases there, like you've pointed out quite a number of them. The fact of the matter is, no one has any proof to say that the state was responsible for those killings. That's the truth of the matter, because whoever alleges must prove. So no one knows. But what we also know is that unsolved murders at times are linked to the states. We also know, because many people have alluded to that, and we've seen that happening in other parts of the world. What we have not done is to ensure that every death is properly investigated and eventually, brought to a close. Without doing that, these issues will keep recurring one way or the other.
Did you see politics, sorry to bother, do you see politics playing out here? Because the death of Bola Ige has always been what APC used to tackle Omisore. Now bringing Omisore into this discussion during elections when it was not in the APC. That was back in the day. But it seems that the narrative has actually changed now that it's in the APC. I don't know what you're reading to, because I begin to see comments and some people's reactions saying that, no, it has always been a political thing and we're not ready to even, pursue this to a logical conclusion.
To be fair to Omisore, he has always been denying being involved in that murder. Don't forget how Omisore came into the whole case. Chief Bola Ige went to Ife to attend, I think it's a chieftaincy ceremony or something, and then there were some altercations. He granted an interview on the radio and attacked Omisore, according to Omisore. Omisore's supporters didn't take kindly to it, and then removed Bola Ige's cap, his necklace, and his glasses, and harassed him, and that was how he came, and that was a week before the murder.
That's right.
So that was how Omisore came into the whole case. So investigation was done. Omisore was locked up. He was, eventually he was found not to have committed the offense according to the our criminal justice system. So therefore, Omisore consistently had been maintaining his innocence, even when he was contesting as SDP gubernatorial candidate. In Osun State, he continued to maintain his innocence, and is always willing to cooperate with. So whether he's in APC now or not in APC, he has always maintained his innocence of this matter. And there is no evidence so far that anyone knows of linking him to it, except there's a new investigation, and if there is no new investigation...
Based on existing...
and I guess that's why some persons are saying that since Baba Bisi Akonde knows so much, he should be called to question too. They should question him as well with regards to this matter. But the question for me now is, how do Yoruba elders have handled this matter? And seeing now that these two prominent sons of the land are heading towards a war path, if they can also handle it as well. Because we know the role that Bola Ige played with regards to Afenifere, he being the one that championed the cause. And that some people said was also a matter with regards to his death and how involved he was in so many things. And it seemed to have been a threat to so many people. And then I was looking at, the Yoruba elders who belong to this group also stepping in to see if they can resolve the matter one way or the other, and now that we have an issue, if they can also step in as well.
Well, what seems clear is that both Ladoja and Bisi Akonde are leaders in Yoruba land. Right. They are both statesmen, elder statesmen, and not only that, they are both, at one time or the other, fully involved in Afenifere. So, but I know that these issues will be resolved one way or the other.
How?
It may mean that we've seen how the case of Farotimi and Afe Babalola has been resolved. It may mean the elders will step in. That's natural in Yoruba land.
But the cases are they are not mutually exclusive, because one involves death, the other involves defamation. So
yes, absolutely. Don't forget, both of them are associates of Ige. There are so many Ige's associates. I met Ige when he was alive. I met him several times and all that. We even had discussions. And, the fact is, many people are traumatized. They're still traumatized by the event. So you're bound to have allegations coming from one angle or the other angle. For instance, people were even blaming themselves for allowing Ige to go and to take up the appointment.
Yes.
Because Obasanjo said he wanted, a unity government. So, and AD was in opposition. And Bola Ige himself told AD about the approach to him by Obasanjo to be his Minister for Mines and Power. And Ige also told Afenifere, the Afenifere leadership met at Ijebu-Igbo in Papa Adesina's house, took a decision, endorsed Ige, you know, asked him to go ahead and take up the appointment. At the same time, Fasomi was leading the AD as the chairman. They also met again and agreed that Ige should take up that appointment. So, you know, you have people who kept blaming themselves. Maybe we shouldn't have
allowed him to be so involved in politics.
No. Ige will always be involved in politics. But to take up
those positions.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because they are in opposition, you know, with a PDP government. Right. So, you know, it's many people are so close to Ige that till today
they haven't healed.
No, it's difficult to heal.
But was there something different, perhaps, the leadership of the Afenifere could have done? I'm just thinking, at the time when he was having all of these issues, enemies, you know, coming up here and there to resolve these matters before he was assassinated, perhaps he might not have been assassinated.
Ige was a colossus when he was alive.
Right.
Ige tried to contest for the primaries of AD presidential ticket. He lost to Chief Olufalaye.
Yes.
Then Ige went into government with Obasanjo. Now, many closer associates, including Chief Bisi Akande, said Ige told them of his desire to leave government and, you know, help to, you know, rebuild AD to be a fighting force at that time. And of course, we knew what happened with how the AD lost some states and ended up only with Lagos State with Asiwaju Tinubu being able to hold on to Lagos State. So there was some, you know, at that time, political intrigues going on about whether they should allow Ige to leave government or not. At the same time, Ige had another appointment with the ICJ in The Hague, which he was to take up in March 2022. No, sorry, 2002. So, you know, there are a lot of issues which no one can say. We will just continue to speculate about what should have happened or what shouldn't have happened. The fact of the matter is I don't see the leadership that approved, you know, that consented to going into government as making the wrong decision. No, they didn't. At that time, it made sense for them to do that, and that was exactly what they did. That's another Yoruba man going into government, so why don't we all unite and support him, even though he belongs to a different platform in national interest. That's the way it was perceived at the time. Now, with his death, you know, people continue to blame each other, keep thinking, maybe we shouldn't have done this, maybe we should have done this. But there has to be a closure one way or the other.
Very quickly, because of our time. You know, speaking of Afenifere, you know, they have also been enmeshed in internal, you know, crises, you know, squabbles, leadership positions, and all of that. We saw what played out in 2023, the Ayo Adebanjo, the Fashion Roti, and there was also the Afenifere Renewal Group and all of that, or the Splinter Group. Where do you think the position of Afenifere is as of today, as a socio-cultural group in Yoruba?
There's only one Afenifere. There's Afenifere Renewal Group. That's different. Yeah, there's only one Afenifere.
Yeah, but you just mentioned Renewal Group. That's another splinter group.
Afenifere.
Although they claim that they are younger generation.
They are younger elements, led by Wale Osun.
Yeah.
There's only one Afenifere. Then you have Afenifere Renewal Group, just like we had Nadeco in those days.
Yes.
And then we have the junior ones, Nadeco Junior, something. So it has always been like that. You know, you are talking about structures trying to ensure inclusivity of the youth in whatever decision being taken at the leadership.
But Bisi Akande said that Afenifere died the moment Bola Ige died because he was the founder of Afenifere. Do you agree?
No. Bola Ige did not found Afenifere. Afenifere, you know, was an offshoot of Egbe Omo Oduduwa, you know, founded by, you know, Awolowo.
That's right.
So it kept changing from one thing to the other, you know, going through, evolving. So the bottom line is, there's only one Afenifere. Yes, it's true. Papa Ayo Adebanjo at a point was made acting leader.
Leader.
But he was never confirmed as a leader, and Fasoranti is the leader. He's currently the leader of Afenifere. Afenifere is one, it's not two. Yes, you may have 2, 3, 4, 5 people who are disaffected, with Afenifere, who, one way or the other, would rather have Chief Adebanjo continuing as acting leader. But that has been put to rest. There's only one leadership.
That's right.
Papa Fasoranti is the leader.
Right. Now, on this matter now, what are the lessons, really, if we are to talk about moving forward? Yes, we know it's unresolved. It may be hard to move forward, but what are the lessons for us as a country for us to ensure that people who contribute so much, because Bola Ige did so much for the country, that we ensure that things like this don't happen again, really, because a lot of persons from that moment lost hope in the criminal justice system as it is.
Yes, that's correct. I understand all the complications that could surround the issue of reinvestigating it or reopening the case. Many people would love to see that. But I think one of the things we can do as a nation to help, assuage the feelings of people is to immortalize Bola Ige. If we immortalize him, that will go a long way, to help many people to heal up. We need to think around that. It's not just a matter for Oyo State government, in my view, or Osun State government. I think it's a national issue. He was a serving Attorney General and Minister for Justice. He has served his country, and he was killed in a gruesome manner in that way. If we can't find a way of reinvestigating the case, or we think there is no prospect of discovering the culprits, then at least we should immortalize him.
How? Quickly.
Well, it could be naming national institutions around him. It could be naming one of the Nigerian law schools, Bola Ige law school, something.
Okay. That would be a fine place to leave the conversation. Social commentator Biodun Shomi, thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Right. We'll take a break now. When we return, we'll link up with our Abuja studio. Stay with us.